The 12th poster contains information about my conceptual developments of methods and components for performing space refueling of ferries based on the Arbalete apparatus. Let's look at two refueling methods. I define the first method as centrifugal. To achieve the goal, it is necessary to manufacture a specialized tanker at the Starship base position 12. It must have an active end refueling nozzle assembly designed by me position 5. On the booster there is position 2, there is a passive part of the refueling nozzle position 22. It is located on one of the three between the engine boxes. By the way, electromagnets are built into these boxes to maintain the alignment of the resulting structure. The fuel component line pipeline exits the filling unit and enters the bypass suction ring located along the circumference of the elliptical tanker tank. The principle of refueling is to use the vacuum of space. The booster oxidizer tank is divided into 3 sealed sections with vacuum valves position 4. The volume of each section is equal to the volume of the fuel tank and the volume of the tanker tank. Before refueling, the required section is evacuated by opening its valve. And then it closes tightly. When the system rotates around its axis, gravity is created, which is insignificant. In the absence of other forces, the fuel component is pressed against the bypass ring of the tanker tank and, under pressure, is sucked out by the vacuum of the booster tank compartment. To completely empty the tank of a tanker, in its central part there is a boost gas nozzle that maintains pressure. I called the second refueling method carousel. His Starship must have a tanker tank with a point outlet for the fuel component position 13. A cone would be best, but I'm afraid it will disrupt the stabilization of the rocket in flight, as it should lie in a plane at an angle of 30 degrees. On the 13th poster, I depicted the butterfly space ferry from a side from which we have not yet looked at it. My omission. But I'll improve. Here I should notice his wasp waist at the junction. The fact is that from this angle my dynamic design is visible. The taper of the transition to increase the diameter of the spar part of the rotation block remained only in the area of the docking units, providing space for the design features of the crossbow. And, moving away from fragmentation, for the first time I show the fully assembled space ferry butterfly, albeit with fragmented arms of the gravitational centrifuge. Of course this is due to their large lengths. But the difference in the directions of the solar panels is noticeable position 18. At the upward shoulder of the near pair, it is directed towards us and the refrigerators are position 5, on the lower shoulder it is directed downwards. At the far shoulders the situation is reversed, the solar panels are directed away from us, and the refrigerators are directed upward. The poster also visually shows the place where the greenhouses are unfastened position 13. The astronauts will have to try. I also decided to explain an interesting feature of my blocks with Wazimir plasma engines. Thanks to the possibility of horizontal turns of up to 240 degrees position 16, and up to 20 degrees vertically position 17, the Wazimir block can not only accelerate the ferry in opposite directions, but is also able to describe a 10-degree circle. This means that the butterfly ferry has the ability to accelerate at a 10-degree inclination to the gravitational axis. In this case, the Sun will illuminate the solar panels with the highest efficiency. Before departure to Mars, all 4 side docking ports are installed, conceptually modernized by me Dragon 2. Let's call it the Martian Takeoff and Landing Shuttle Dragon 3 position 19. The 14th poster introduces you to the Mars Shuttle. Its appearance has not changed and is recognizable. This is Dragon 2. On Mars, gravity is 3 times less and the first escape velocity is only 3 5/10 of a kilometer per second. Therefore, with some modifications, he is quite suitable for this role. First of all, we increase the cargo compartment position too. We leave the Draco engines and fuel the same. My concept mainly concerns the modification of the cargo compartment position too. The compartment is a fuel donor located in an annular cylindrical tank position 10. It rests on the cylinder of the donor oxidizer tank. Position 11. Before takeoff, they pump their contents into the ellipsoidal tanks of the ship's cocoon position 3, emptied during the shuttle's jet landing. Accordingly, positions 6 and 7 after the tanks are empty, the block acts as a starting support. And then a dry glass with a diameter of more than 3 and an internal height of more than 6 meters position 8. At the bottom of the glass there are 2 lifting platforms positions 15 and 16. The upper platform fits into the O-ring and is fixed in the position shown on the poster and is subsequently sealed. The lower platform rises to form the second floor. Then the block is lifted by lifts position 4 and leveled horizontally at a height of about 2 meters. Thereby providing free passage to the airlock chamber of the block position 9. Next, the covers and valves on the pipes at the end of the fuel tank are open position 18, as well as the side upper covers of the oxidizer tank to collect small fractions of Mars soil. Using a compressor and hoses stored in the airlock chamber, crumbs of Mars are pumped into the former fuel and oxidizer tanks, filling the entire outer volume of the residential segment of the block position 13. In the same way, we fill the trough of the upper platform through the bypass filling valves in the holes aligned with them in the trough of the upper platform position 15. These actions are explained by the fact that upon arrival there will be nowhere to hide from the radiation. Let's say all 4 shuttles land. 28 astronauts will land. They will work on unloading the starships, first all of them, then as they fly off and the launch blocks are freed, the last 7 will prepare the 3rd residential block. Or maybe 14 people will remain to collect the material based on the 15th poster. I tried to imagine the arrival of the first astronauts on Mars. Bare, chilling landscape. And no matter how many astronauts arrive, everyone will find themselves in the same situation. And realizing the deadly threat of radiation, you will want to fall under this red, lifeless firmament. At this moment, they should feel the warmth and care of the Earthlings, who tried as much as possible to help and protect their messengers. Therefore, I proposed a version of the 14th poster. But this is only part of what the pioneers need for their first visit to Mars, so close to us, but so far away. I consider the frivolity of sending 50 people into the starship unacceptable. This is not humane even towards the most desperate Earthlings. We must try. I dedicated this concept project to getting them to Mars. I propose that the basis for ensuring the arrival and initial settlement of the planet should be provided by cargo senior ships sent one way without returning, with a load of everything necessary for our new settler. After unloading, their tanks can be used as containers for storing fuel and water components. This particular poster is dedicated to the first home of our Martians. This building is like a thermos. Glass in glass is a Roman unit. On top of the hemisphere there is a parabolic antenna for long-distance communication with the Earth position 1. The space between the walls is filled with a fine fraction of Martian soil position 8, with compressors through pipelines position 15. Entry and exit is provided through the gateway position 9. Seniorship was conceptually modified by me. Instead of one bulky hatch cover, I used a 2-leaf opening scheme to the sides with a longitudinal cutout in the center where the longitudinal boom of the unloading beam crane is located. Also in the front part there are flexible hoses with a suction neck and handles for moving them through the areas where small fractions of Mars soil are located. The residential building is fully equipped on Earth. It has an equipped and configured communication center, a set of solar panels, a kitchen, a toilet, a supply of oxygen, water, and food. There can be as many of them as you like, with different residential modules, as well as with different equipment. There can be as many of them as you like, with different residential modules, as well as with different equipment. I would like to draw your attention to the magnetic field created by Wazimir plasma engines. Maybe, Given a certain position, it is possible to create a barrier to solar radiation,